the camera view from the entrance alone. Like, she had an outfit just for the entrance. She wore that outfit to take them 5 steps and changed out of that shit and had on the hoodie and the jeans with the iridescent French boots. Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Who has an outfit just for the entrance? Come on. There was this post on Twitter where they were like, does Beyonce have peers? And I said,
fucking nobody.
No. Okay, you know you that B when you cause all this conversation. I mean, she ain't lying. Where's the lie? I can't find it. Because there are none. Angie, girl, you can't get up here. Oh, goodness gracious. No, baby, I'm working. I'm sorry. Hey, y'all, this is Angie. But I'm sorry, my love. She was like, oh, you sitting over here? We sitting over here? I was like, no, baby. I'm working over here. Hello, Divine Ones. It's your girl, Nerese. Back with another video. And I'm so excited about this one because it's a little bit different than what I've been doing before, but it's kind of leaning into the topics that I've been wanting to discuss here at the House of Divinity. So let's get into it. Without further ado, play in that intro. When you're an eccentric person with your own sense of style, beliefs, talents, flaws, and a mysterious cosmic energy, you are often misunderstood. We realize it's okay if we didn't fit into other solar systems because we were supposed to create our own. We will find and build a tribe of like-minded individuals. So, to the divine ones out there, welcome to the House of Divinity. Something that made me want to discuss this, right, was certain things that I noticed people mentioning on Twitter about Coachella this year, 2020. Some of the people who were performing that I would have paid attention to were Meg Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, Princess Nokia, Ari Lennox. I think Justin Bieber performed. I don't check on Justin, no shade, but he performed. Harry Styles headlined. Who was it? Harry Styles. Billie Eilish. Oh my gosh, no shade. I like Billie. She aight, you know. I don't listen to her, but I like her vibe, her style, and her music and her voice. But Billie Eilish, Harry Styles, and Kanye, yay, on the poster. They were the headliners, right? And I noticed some people discussing, people were just saying like, you know, Coachella is just looking dry in general, just this year compared to the hype that it was in the past. Then other things that people were saying about Coachella was the comparison with Beychella, which people were just automatically talking about. But then something that happened at Coachella was when Billie Eilish finished her set, she was like, bye, sorry I'm not Beyonce, have a good night. And I was like, okay. But the thing about this video is that I didn't want to make this a comparison video. I didn't want to compare the newer artists or the people who are performing this year with her performance, because I mean you just can't. But what I wanted to do was do a breakdown on Beyonce's performance and the elements that made her performance as amazing as it was, and the elements that I feel other artists would have to achieve in order to come anywhere close to how great her performance was. So I broke this down into 6 sections of why I feel Beychella is the new standard and what any of these newer artists or any artists would have to do in order to, you know, at least reach the standard, let alone, I don't know if anybody can surpass it. I don't know. We'll know. We don't know. Anything is possible. I mean, nobody ever thought there would be an artist as great as Michael Jackson. And then along and behold, we got Beyonce, you know. And I'm not comparing them to either, but I'm just saying, someone who is a monumental performer and artist, you can't deny what the girl's done. So let's get into it. The first thing that I feel artists would need to have in order to create the impact at Coachella like Beyoncé has is talent. You need to have talent. You would think that's a given, but as we know, as consumers or even artists or just anybody who has common sense knows that you don't necessarily need to be talented to be successful in the music industry. It just so happens that Beyoncé is someone who is extremely successful but also extremely talented. The clear talents that Beyoncé has is singing. We know she can do that. We know she can dance. And something that I don't think enough people talk about enough is her creative talent and her creative eye, and how she's able to come up with a concept and make it reality when it comes to her performances, beyond just her singing and dancing, but her coming up with a stage design idea and it coming into fruition, right? I think the first time we really got a chance to see that was when she did the BET Awards performance, I believe in 2003, when she performed Crazy in Love. And there's that infamous clip where she's like, you know, I was thinking, Beyonce.
I want something big. I want something that says I'm here. Beyonce. I drew out the ramp, the boxes for me and my girls. I drew out the lift right in the O for me to come down. I knew the dance. I knew about the pumps. I saw all of that in my head before it happened.
And literally built a set with lights where she was able to come down, you know, into the O and then like perform and everything. Like, that was her idea. And people don't talk enough about her creative direction talent. The main thing that I feel as though that's specifically important with a Coachella performance is performing. Beyonce is one of the greatest performers alive, if not the greatest performer alive. She, of course, can sing. But the thing is, she's not just like a regular singer. Like, she's a powerhouse vocalist. Like, she can belt, she can growl, she can give you falsetto. She has an amazing range. She can give you ad-libs and runs. And not only just her as a singer, not only is she great just as a singer, but she can do that. Sorry, my cat was like making noise, and I'm just so used to it at this point. I'm just like, girl, you're in. I just fed you, honey. I need you to cooperate while mommy's at work, okay? Anyway, what was I saying? The point that I was trying to make was, she could just stand there and sing the songs and give you everything, and it'd still be an amazing show. But what makes Beyonce an anomaly in this industry is that she can sing and dance full out without sounding tired, and the mic is on and there's no backtrack, okay? Because some of these girls that I do like, that I be standing for just a little bit, if not stand, I support and go and see their shows, you know, they can do the choreography and look amazing, and they can sing okay, or they can sing amazing and do the choreography just a little bit, you know, or, you know, they can sing really well and do the choreography, but they gotta backtrack. And I'm like, girl, if you don't turn this backtrack off, like, I understand if there's moments where you're doing like a dance break, so the mic isn't gonna be up in, you know, to your face because you're not singing, so you're doing the dance break. Okay, have the backtrack then. But if it's a part in the song where you're actually going to be singing it while doing a little bit of the choreography, if you don't get that backtrack about the song, but that's just my own complaint. But anyway, back to Beyonce. That should be a hashtag. Back to Beyonce. You know, she's one of the few people who can sing clearly with the mic on in the midst of doing full on choreography. Like, a lot of these girls can do it a little bit. Like, you could see Doja's really good at that. I will give her that. You know, but Doja's not like a powerhouse vocalist. You know what I'm saying? You don't really go to Doja for vocals. She gives you vocals enough to give you like a hook and sing along, and you know, it's a catchy tune just as much as she raps. But you know, she's one of the few girls who's coming up that has been in talks of possibly getting to like a Beyonce level. That's a whole nother video, a whole nother topic. If you want to kiki in the comments about it and let me know if you want me to record a video on that, let me know. Kiki in the comments. Speaking of kiki in the comments, something I didn't do in the beginning of this video, make sure you like and comment. You know, of course, like everybody, they be saying that in their video. I'm gonna say this in this video. Make sure you like and comment this video. Kiki in the comments. If you like the vibes, make sure you subscribe. There will be weekly videos, so be on the lookout for that. And also, we have new Divine merch out. It's finally out. I mentioned it in some of my older videos while I was still in the midst of putting the campaign and the product and the website together. But now it's officially out. It's launched. It's on www.nerys.com. If you go in the Divine merch section, you can check out some of the Divine merch for all of the Divine ones who really feel a part of the Divine family here at the House of Divinity. So yeah, check out all the things, and make sure if you purchase something, you subscribe to our email list, because let me tell you something, them emails, there's affirmations, I send a monthly playlist. You know, it's more than just me trying to sell product to you. I mean, yes, I have to do that because, you know, a girl got bills to pay, you know, but I also really care about you. I care about the Divine ones. And so I send affirmations. I have a self-care challenge that I do every Sunday. You know, I send little funny messages, something to just kind of like bring your spirit up depending on what you got going on and throughout the week and stuff like that. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to our email list because our emails are lit over here at the House of Divinity. Okay, so anyway, back to the program. So one of the things that I think people need to have is talent, okay? And creative vision as well, because some people can hire a creative director to put their performance and their set together, but Beyonce is behind the scenes on a lot of the things that happens in her performance. She's very hands-on. A lot of the times it's her ideas, and of course she works with people, like she has a team of people, but a lot of times she'll say, okay, can we build the set like this? Can we raise the set like this? Can it come back down? Can we slide this out, put this in, you know, build this up? Like, a lot of it gets approved by her if it's not initiated from her own creativity, which I feel like is one of the things that makes her dope as a performing act. The second thing that I feel as though artists would need in order to pull off a performance as impactful as Beyonce's is a catalog. Like, you know, one of the things that I feel as though people really can't compare with the newer girls and Beyonce is that Beyonce has a plethora of albums to put together a set list from, and also just years of experience, what kind of ties into my next point. But specifically about her catalog, she has hits. She has songs that's come out over 20 years ago that people know the words to and grew up with and sang. And there's different generations of people who fell into the Beehive, you know, and joined because a certain album came out or a certain song came out. Like for me, for example, I remember, I mean, I was born in the 90s, right? So I was about like 2 when the first Destiny's Child album came out. And I didn't really care for Destiny's Child back in the day, no shade. I was a baby. Like, you know, my girl was Janet because I had Janet albums in the house. So that's who my pop star was Janet. Janet was my girl. My R&B pop star girl was Janet. And it wasn't until Beyonce put out like Crazy in Love, I started paying attention to her. And I'm like, ooh, okay, I really like this song. This song is everywhere, right? And what made me a stan was the B-Day era. When I remember the first time I heard Deja Vu on the radio, I remember where I was and how the bass line just hit me. And what really made me be like, oh, okay, Beyonce's really that girl, was the BET Awards performance when she performed Dangerously in Love. I mean, not Dangerously in Love, child. Deja Vu. So that's me, someone who's a millennial, a 90s kid, who grew up and saw Beyonce's come up. There's some people who weren't even born during that time, and who were born later, but fell in love with Beyonce during the 4 era, or during the self-titled era. So there's different generations who love her for different albums, you know. And so she has so much music to be able to even put a performance like that together and have hits that people know the words to, that's not just a hit that came out like 2 years ago. You know, she has hits that take you back to a time. Like when she sang Me, Myself, and I, and the camera went to the people in the crowd and everybody's like, oh my gosh. Because you wouldn't have thought she was going to perform that song. We haven't seen Beyonce perform that song in a while. You know, and that's all the way back to Dangerously in Love debut solo album era, you know. But people who grew up during that time, or who were grown during that time, that's a moment for them. Whereas some of the newer kids, they might know it if they go back and do their homework, because I was definitely that kid growing up. Like, I would do my homework on the older generation of music, because that's where the best music is. But some of the kids who don't do that might not know those songs, but they'll know when Drunk in Love come on. You know what I mean? So it was different songs for different generations, but she has the catalog that expands multiple generations, let alone her being able to have a whole section specifically dedicated to her Destiny Child era, and to be able to bring out Kelly and Michelle to perform with her, and those hits that she had before she even went solo. Because a lot of times people be forgetting that, like, Beyonce was a part of a group before she was Beyonce, which was perfect for her career, because she was able to iron out all the kinks and figure out the game, learn the industry. So by the time she went solo, it was smooth sailing, because she knew the game that she had to play, you know. But she has, including solo albums and with Destiny's Child, more than 10 albums of music to choose from, and put together a dope set list that all have hits. So, you know, some of the newer girls, they just don't have the catalog just yet. You know what I mean? Now, the next thing that I kind of mentioned with the catalog, but specifically what I wanted to dive into, was longevity. Beyonce has been in the game for 20 plus years. It's hard to compare somebody who is a new up-and-coming artist, figuring out their sound, still building their fan base, or might have built their fan base, but they're new to fame, they're new to their level of where their career is right now, compared to a Beyonce who's got 20 years in the game and is still in the game, you know. Because it's not like it's people who came out when Beyonce came out and then just didn't last in the industry, or, you know, there's newer people that came out and they don't have the experience that she has. And not only that, but Beyonce has 20 years of experience performing, putting the music together, dancing. And she's one of the few people who actually get better over time. It's not like she's ever looked, you know, like worn down, or she looked like it's, you know, the look is just starting to fade. Like, no, she's one of the few people who actually get better with everything. Like, her voice matured over the years, her performance is like more elaborate, her tours, just like the things that she would put to a performance, it just elevates. So a lot of the girls that are out now don't have the experience to even compare to a Beyonce, because Beyonce sells out stadiums, she surpassed arenas. So she has the experience in putting together a tour, having a team, a staff, you know, to be able to put all the pieces together, break it down, go to the next stadium. Like, all of that takes time and effort. And mind you, she's the CEO of Parkwood. You know, she's the one who runs the show, as well as her being the artist and the talent. So she has the knowledge of the talent, but she also has the knowledge of being the boss behind the scenes, to know how the game works when it comes to putting a performance together, especially a performance to that magnitude. Now the next point that also ties into her catalog and longevity, but not everybody has, is relevancy. Beyonce, again, is an anomaly in this industry because she is the only one that I've ever seen that, as much as she's had longevity in the industry, she continues to grow in relevancy. You know, because there's artists who were peers of hers back in 2006. Because there was this post on Twitter where they were like, does Beyonce have peers? And I said,
fucking nobody.
No. Okay. Back in the day when her peers were the likes of a Usher and a Alicia Keys, you know, they all have the same longevity. They are still in the game. Usher had just had a Vegas residency. Alicia Keys just put out an album, I think earlier this year. So they're still in the game. They still have had the same, if not a little bit shorter or a little bit longer longevity in comparison to Beyonce. But, and this is in no disrespect, but this is just pure honesty, those artists are not nearly as relevant as Beyonce is. And I'm not saying they're not relevant at all, because I mean, Usher just put on a Vegas residency. People were going to buy those tickets and see him, you know, and he was still putting out music through the years. He still has hits that play on the radio today, you know. But where Usher is right now, I'm sorry, he wouldn't be able to sell out an arena like a Beyonce. You know, Alicia wouldn't be able to sell out an arena like a Beyonce. And I love both those artists, okay? I got some of these CDs over here, okay? So it's no shade to them. It's just calling it what it is and just keeping it 100% real. Like, they're just not as relevant as a Beyonce. And even the newer artists that might be popular, or younger artists, aren't as relevant as Beyonce. You know, they might be more known to a younger generation, but Beyonce has been known through multiple generations. You know, I think the only one that comes close to being as relevant as a Beyonce is like Rihanna. But she's a completely different kind of artist though. She's a completely different kind of artist. And that's a whole nother video that I'm not about to get into. But for Beyonce, it's just, she's just built different. Like, her whole career and her legacy is just built completely different because she's stood the test of time, but she's one of the few people who continuously gets more popular as she puts music out, as she performs. Like, the more that she does, the more popular she becomes. And you rarely see that. Like, people who are legends these days, who have the longevity, don't necessarily continue to have the same relevancy that they had in their prime. Whereas Beyonce has grown even more popular than she was in her prime. I mean, people, you know, the Beehive, they love to say, she's still in her prime, you know? I would say that her prime would be anywhere between, like, the 2000s. Like, you know, when Crazy in Love came out, all the way up until, like, Single Ladies, you know? I think those eras were building up her prime because that's when she was the youngest. You know, she was new to being solo, but she had hits and she was creating those legendary performances, and she was still kind of on that grind, but she got 5 Grammys for Dangerously in Love, and she got, what was it, 6 Grammys? Yeah, 6 Grammys for I Am Sasha Fierce. I feel like those eras were like her prime for me, but she's still relevant, and not many people can say that. You know, some legends are still in the game. They can still tour, they can still book shows and have their fans come out because they make timeless music, but they might not be as relevant as they were when they got those hits. Unlike Beyonce, who's still very much in demand, and the girls are screaming, "Where is B7?" To this day. Like, she trends on Twitter without doing anything. She don't post nothing. She don't gotta do anything on IG. She don't even step out the house. But the girls are constantly and consistently talking about Beyonce. You know you that B when you cause all this conversation. I mean, she ain't lying. Where's the lie? I can't find it. Because there are none. Alright. The fifth thing that I wanted to talk about that made her performance so impactful and iconic was, now we're actually getting into the performance, is the production. In order for an artist to put anything close together when it comes to the production that Beyonce put together, you need a budget. Okay? First of all, you need a really cute budget to do anything like what Beyonce did. I mean, from the entrance, like this, like, okay, let's talk about the set and the stage, right? You had the main stage, and then you had the stage that came out into the audience where, you know, she did the entrance and then she would come out and dance, right? Then you have the risers, the pyramid risers. Then the pyramid risers that the lights were on that were down in the beginning but raised up, you know, and revealed the actual stage. Like there was an entrance and then Beyonce left. There was the whole choreography moment. Then the stage comes up, or the lights come up, and then you see the actual stage. Like there was so many reveals just in the first 10 minutes, you know. And then not only the stage, but like she got the little treadmill thing that she likes to do live, you know. And I'm trying to remember, did she do the treadmill on Homecoming, or was that just Formation? I don't know. I'm gonna put it right here. But you know, she had the set, the costumes. She had like 6 different costume changes. And then the dancers have costumes, you know. There's wardrobe for the dancers, okay? We're talking about the wardrobe. And then also the performers who were there on stage with her. You got dancers. You have the band. You have, mind you, the marching band people. And then you have like her regular band, like bass, guitar, drums, the background singers, you know, that whole bit that's normally a part of her live performance. Then you got the string section, you know, and then you got the male dancers too. You had the female dancers, and then you had the male dancers. And then you got the staff, the crew behind the scenes, making sure the lights are working. Talk about the lights, okay? The lights, they change color. She had fog in the performance. You know, there's just so many moving parts. The cameras, the angles. She had the aerial shot, like I was talking about in the Be Alive video. If you haven't watched that, make sure you check it out. And I mentioned on there, in the part where she was singing Top Off, she has this aerial shot where the camera is like looking down on her. You know, and then the camera view from the entrance alone. Like, she had an outfit just for the entrance. She wore that outfit to take them 5 steps and changed out of that shit and had on the hoodie and the jeans with the iridescent French boots. Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Who has an outfit just for the entrance? Come on.
She's an icon. She's a legend, and she is the moment. Now, come on now.
Come on. The girls just, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sure there's girls out here that have that talent and have those ideas, but you need a budget to do that. Like, you really need a deep purse to say, all right, look, this is the coin we gonna put on my outfit. This is the coin we gonna put on the outfits for the band. This is the coin for the stage, the lights. We need the light crew. We need the audio crew. And she said there was like 3 different departments just for sound. Like the people recording the stomps and, you know, the stage sounds. People recording the band. And then people recording like the singers. You need 3 different departments just to record sound. Let alone the choreography. Let alone the wardrobe. Let alone the camera and the equipment. Because she recorded this herself. It wasn't like she was just relying on Coachella cameras, because you know how Beyonce is about her cameras, and especially if they got blue light on her.
The angles and the lighting is not pretty as a whole. And I hate all that ugly blue light. I'm a black girl. You can't put blue lights on black girls. I can't trust them. They don't know what they doing.
She's up to a point where she has her own camera crew to film this for her, which is a whole nother aspect that I'm gonna get into. That's the last part that I wanted to talk about. But it takes money and production to do a performance like what she did. And she has, again, back to the longevity thing, she has years of experience touring large venues where she can afford to put together a elaborate production. And the thing is, it's not like she has a production where it drowns her out, but her production meets her exactly where her talent is. You know, it's not like you have all this cool bells and whistles, but the girl can't sing. Like, no, she can sing, she can dance, she can perform, she gives you energy, she gives you charisma. And just as much as she's dope on her own, all her creative ideas and her creative staff make sure the set around her complements the energy and the talent that she gives. And not many people could do that, let alone afford to do that, because it takes, okay, and hair and makeup. That's a whole nother thing. But you know, because you got to do all the, unless the dancers might do their own makeup, because sometimes that happens where it's like, all right, look, just do your makeup like this, but you know, glue the hat on, but we got somebody doing a fitting for your wardrobe. And the last part that I wanted to say was that the thing that also makes this very impactful and not like the rest of these broads is the fact that Beyonce is an artist of ownership. And like I mentioned before, she's just as much as an artist as she is a boss. And she runs Parkwood Entertainment. So Parkwood Entertainment put together this whole performance, right? But then also filmed this performance. Now, I'm going to do a separate video where I discuss the whole business coin flip that she did from recording this into making it Homecoming. I'm going to do a completely different video because I do actually want to dive into the business side of Beyonce. I've mentioned that before, but I'm actually going to record that now that I did this. But briefly, what I do want to mention is that, you know, she's not just doing this for exposure because she doesn't need exposure. You know what I mean? And there was a whole controversy of how much she was getting paid. It doesn't matter, you know, because she's at a point in her career where she doesn't have to do it for the come up or to put her brand out there or try to build her fan base. Like, she has the fan base. She has her legacy solidified. She has her coins, you know, and she even said in the video, she could have just did a performance where it's like, okay, I'm gonna just wear my flower crown and just serve the girls and, you know, just show you how I'm much that girl, and I could dance and sing and I can still do it even after popping out 2 babies. No, she didn't do all that. She put together a performance that actually had intention and a concept, which is what I be screaming about on these videos. There was a concept behind it, and she did it to put light and honor and uplift the art and the history and the beauty of HBCUs and marching band culture and the steppers, and just a performance that was just so black.
It was so black ass. It was black ass.
You know, and there was intention behind it, you know, and that also speaks to her creative talent, because it takes talent to be a creative just as much as it is to be talented, you know, because you could be talented, but if you ain't got no creative dope ideas or concepts, then what is it for? You know, like, okay, yeah, it looks cute, but Beyonce is at a point where she can really dive into the concepts of her performance and the ownership behind it, and how it's more than just her performing. Like, she's making art, and she's making something that's intentionally impactful for a culture of people. And she did it in a way where I'm not just giving you this performance once. I'm making sure I document this performance so y'all can see this repeatedly on Netflix and just see how much time and energy and practice and rehearsals and all the hands and departments that it took to put together that performance. You know, everything about this performance and what made it so impactful is everything to do with how much she's an artist. She's a creative artist, because a lot of it is her ideas and her own creativity and how she wants the performance to look and feel. But her also being a boss. And it took 20 years for her to get to this point. You know, it's not like we were seeing this as Beyonce new into the game. And granted, even if it was, I think it would have still been monumental. But the girls have a lot of work to do and a lot of years to put in to even get close to putting something together as impactful, as influential, as elaborate, as fly as what Beyonce did with Beychella. So those are my 6 cents. Wow, double entendre, no pun intended. Because 6 points, you know, but 6 cents, you know, I don't know. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about on here. Because, you know, I see a lot of people doing the comparing, you know, the younger girls to Beyonce and all those things. But I really wanted to break down what it takes and what is necessary for the girls to even be able to put together a performance like that. And you can't compare these new girls because, one, they still have to put the time in. You know, they still need to grow and experience things. They still need to grow as artists and decide even if they want to be a boss. Because some people don't want to do all that. Some people just want to be the artist and focus on the art and not have to think about the business behind the scenes and the contracts and people's salaries and, you know, how are we going to hire the catering people? How are we going to book this? You know, some people don't want to have to do all that, you know, and so you have to give these newer artists grace and time and allow them to grow as people, let alone grow as creatives and artists, before you can compare them. Now, I mean, it's hard to, you know, follow a performance like Beyonce. It is, because even her peers, even people with the longevity and experience, don't necessarily have the, I don't want to say talent, because honestly I feel like talent is what helps with longevity. But they might not necessarily have the relevancy, or they might not have the budget, or they might not have the complete ownership like what Beyonce has. You know, so there's so many ways to look at this situation. And, you know, you kind of have to be where she is. You have to have the talent, the catalog, the longevity, the relevancy, the production, and the ownership. All of that ties into the main pieces to how Beyonce was able to put that together. Because she runs a mean ship, okay? And you have to be on that level as a boss, as much as an artist, and know how to play the game, and get to a point where you don't have to play the game. You can change the rules to the game, or decide, this is how I'm going to play the game. You know? Because in power. Because all of those things tie into the power that she has. So, again, those are my points. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all can understand where I was trying to come from. Let me know what you all think. Do you agree? Do you have some extra points? Do you feel like there's some aspects that I missed? Let's kiki in the comments. Let me know how you feel, what you think in this video, and give me some topic ideas, you know, of some other points that I could talk about. I want to get into Beyonce as the businesswoman, because we don't talk enough about it. You know what I mean? We talk about the art and how she slays and how she looks great, and she does, you know, but I want to see more people discuss the business moves and, you know, how she plays chess. Because a lot of the bras be playing checkers. And B is like, nah, these are chess moves here. And we all can learn from it. Whether you're a creative or a business person or just a human in general. So, also make sure you get that Divine merch for the Divine ones out there. Because let me tell you something, it's fly. And it doesn't just come in black, y'all. It comes in white as well. Okay? So, put your orders in. And when you subscribe to my email list, you get 15% off your first order. So, make sure you subscribe first on the website, www.Nerese.com. Get that discount and get your merch, okay? It's your girl Reese. I'm out. Bye.